One of the really important skills that we work on with our learners is functional communication training, replacement language. But are you incorporating teaching appropriate protests into your FCT teachings? Hi, I'm Shira.
And I'm Shayna. We're behavior analysts who create weekly content about how to teach children with autism so that they make real progress. And we create shareable resources to make your job just a little easier. Today's topic is all about teaching appropriate protests. And if you want more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on new video releases.
So most of us, experience free choice in our environments in this world. If we don't like something, we can usually, say so. We can speak up for ourselves. We can get up and leave if we're not interested anymore in what we're doing. But our learners can't always tell us this, and they should be able to tell us this without using challenging behavior.
So when I think of appropriate protests, I think of phrases such as no thank you, or I don't like it, give it back, please stop. People can also protest though without words, right? You can walk away from something. You can push an item back away from somebody. You can even just shake your head no. That's all protesting. Appropriate protesting is found in the ABLES. It's found in the BB-MAP as well. Typically, it's that requests others to remove an item or stop an activity, which would be F15 in the ABLES-R, or in Section 12 in the manding section in the BB-MAP. So it's there, it's present, but it's kind of up there. It's not one of those beginner skills, and it really should be.
And there's a couple reasons why teaching protest is so important. One is that for many of our early learners, we spend a lot of time building cooperation and building requesting and manding and getting them to tell us what they want. And then also getting them to follow instructions and building all of those nice skills that we may, inadvertently encourage some, too much compliance where they're not able to tell us what they don't want because we've been so focused on them saying, I want cookie or I want swing or whatever that is. And we might forget to teach them all those things that they need to tell us that they don't want, which are just as important. And another really important reason is as a replacement for challenging behavior. Often challenging behavior is a way to protest. It gets things to go away, which is, a function of escape or avoidance, to be more technical. But if they want something to go away and they're showing us that with their challenging behavior, then we want to teach them a way to tell us that they don't want something, but also that their words work for them and that thing actually does go away.
We've done another podcast on functional communication training. If you're interested in more in depth than that, check out episode 91. But we really want to go more in depth with this one about how do we teach our learners to end a non-preferred activity or to say something or say no to something that they don't want.
So it's actually a program that we teach, and we teach it by breaking it down into multiple steps. We'll often use a visual because for a lot of our learners, having that visual support to prompt language is really helpful and important. And then we just keep contriving situations. We may keep setting up situations where the first protest they're learning is stop, because we might be bugging them or they don't want the thing that's happening. And so we're using the visual, prompting them, and then retrialing to get them to keep saying stop. And then we may introduce a new word or a new protest and keep using situations that are going to give them opportunities to practice using that protest.
Sometimes we start with a game. So I can even tell one of the students I'm working with ahead of time, hey, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking your pencil. Every time you go to write, I'm going to take your pencil. And they look at me and I say, but this is what you're going to say. You could say, give it back. You can say, I don't like it. Please stop. If they're verbal enough, I can ask them, which one do you want to say? And give them that visual. Okay, let's practice. Remember, I'm going to take your pencil. So I'm really trying to set it up errorlessly when teaching appropriate protesting.
We also sometimes get our learners really used to responding to verbal SDs, right? The verbal instruction is, what do you want? Or what is it? Those kind of things. And with protesting, we really want them to respond to the environment, to the cue in the environment. There's something I don't like here. I don't need to wait for somebody to ask me, do you want this? And then have the choice of yes or no, or what is this? But I want to be able to respond to that kind of discomfort that I'm feeling. And it could be a cue cue in their body, it could be a cue in the environment. And we want to get them used to initiating that protest, not because I'm telling them to say something, but because they're starting to feel like this is something that they don't like. And that's the part that we want them to learn to advocate more and more with.
Oftentimes I'll use some type of antecedent log data sheet, or some just kind of writing down their triggers. So what has triggered probably negative behavior in the past, right? Because if your learners don't have appropriate protesting, what are they going to do? They're going to engage in challenging behavior. If I didn't have the words to say, get away from me right now, or no, I don't like that, I'm probably going to scream and I'm probably going to cry. So we want to write down those situations where our learners are protesting, probably without words, but with challenging behavior, but writing down some of those situations so that we can role play those situations, we can recreate those situations, but in a more positive way. We can give them some language to say and really, really practice that. If kids can't talk, we can still give them, I call them words, call them language, but we can still give them nonverbal ways to communicate and be able to tell us, using their actions, they don't like that.
If anyone spends any time around, a typical 2-year-old, they'll know that their favorite word becomes no very quickly. They learn to assert themselves. Every other thing is no. They don't want to do anything. They want to do everything by themselves. And what happens next? Like, they eventually grow out of it. And that's because we scaffold that learning with, like, sometimes the no works and sometimes you have to do it anyway. And I think we could do the same thing with our learners, that they can tell us what they want and they could protest and they could tell us no. And we can let that work for them sometimes, especially if there's a behavior plan and we're working on replacing challenging behavior. But ultimately, we're also going to teach them how to tolerate when no doesn't work for them, or how to tolerate when they might have to do things anyway. And those two, skill acquisition programs could be running at the same time, where they're learning how to use their functional communication, but they're also learning some tolerance, where you may not want to eat this, broccoli, but you know what? You have to try it anyway because that's what's for dinner.
Oh, do I really have to try broccoli tonight? Gregory Hanley talks a lot about skill-based teaching, and he talks a lot about tolerance and delay. Another podcast episode 148, we talk all about Hanley's approach to tolerance and delay. So go check that out as well.
For more information on teaching self-advocacy, click the link on or around this video or in the description to claim your free download on appropriate protests. We also encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, and leave a like and comment below if you have further questions.